Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the Dixie Fire Incident Update. My name is Chris Bruno. I'm one of the public information officers assigned to the incident. This evening, you'll be hearing from various experts in their field, updating you on recent evacuations, fire activity, and weather. If you have any questions for our speakers this evening, please submit them in the comments section below. First, let me bring you the latest incident numbers regarding the Dixie Fire. The Dixie Fire is currently at 960,213 acres with 65% containment. There are currently 4,773 personnel assigned to the incident. I'd like to introduce our first speaker. Please welcome incident meteorologist Benjamin Bardis.
Evening, I'm Incident Meteorologist Ben Bardis here on the Dixie Fire West Zone. So just a quick weather update tonight. We had that cold front that passed through a couple nights back, brought some thunderstorms, some showers. Some areas got some good rain, some areas didn't, and then that swept through yesterday morning. And now we have pretty nice weather, and we don't really have anything in the forecast for this week that's really going to change that, so we can expect a pretty quiet weather week ahead. One thing I'm highlighting on the fire that I'm going to be paying attention to are our relative humidities. Even though the temperatures are cooler and are expected to stay that way, the air that we now have in place over the fire is pretty dry. So we're going to be looking at relative humidities starting to drop back into the teens. In fact, they did already today over the fire in the afternoon, and then maximum relative humidity, i.e. recovery of those humidities at night, is going to start to decrease, and we're not going to really get good recoveries overnight that we have from the moisture that's dropped. So basically that moisture we got has evaporated off, it's exited the area, and we're going to start drying out again. So that's really going to be my focus, is the returning to dry weather. Other than that, cooler temperatures out there, so enjoy those, and we're going to be keeping a close eye out for things here on the fire. Thanks.
Next, from the West Zone, Fire Behavior Analyst for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1, Chief Don Watt.
Good evening. Don Watt, Fire Behavior Analyst, CAL FIRE Incident Management. It's got a little rain, a little more rain down the southern end of the fire, the north end. And now, as it's holding a little bit of that moisture today, it'll start drying out, as you heard the IMET say, and we'll continue to see that drying out. We're going to continue to see some interior fuels burning, especially in this top part. Those heavy dead and down materials will continue to burn out, which is good. They'll consume up and be less of a threat. There is still potential for the fire to spread in certain areas. They are working on getting a line around, but that threat has really calmed down as we get the relative humidity recovering at night. We'll see that again tonight with better recoveries than we had seen in the past. That will start to wane off. Eventually there will be some more activity, especially on the interior portions. The other big thing is that rain also helped move down some of the overstory, made it a ground fuel down low. So there may be some small interior areas that show smoke down the southern portion, but it's not likely. A lot of that rain would help to kind of dampen that down and hopefully extinguish some of those fuels. Everything's looking good though for now for fire behavior.
From the West Zone, Operations Section Chief for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1, Chief Tony Brunel.
Good evening. I'm going to give you a quick update on the West Zone of the Dixie. Starting down Highway 70, coming up to the Highway 36 area, it's looking very good. A lot of deep mop up in there. This is what we call patrol status. No real issues of escaping in there at all. Branch 9, we've been working that pretty hard for the last 2 weeks. We've had no issues in there. We're in the process of pulling out the hose. The only area we're keeping an eye on is Stumps Ranch. In the Stumps Ranch, we have an area we call the peat bog. It's actually in an old meadow that's skunking around there. It's very difficult to put out, but we're still working on it. Working up into branch 13 and branch 15, that's where we had the issue a couple days ago where it came out of there pretty fast. We have line from the bottom of the fire up to Highway 44. There's a small section down here in the park. We're looking at tying that in real soon. We're looking at going direct on that as much as we can. The old station area had fire pretty close to it, and we're mopping up pretty aggressively. We're trying to get that in there as mopped up so we get people repopulated, but it's going to take a little time So give us a little bit. We'll get that mopped up and get you back in your home. Above 44, and it comes back down into 44, we have line on that entire section. So it means we got dozer line on it, we have hose line on it, or hand line on it, or all the three, because it's been stitched together in there because of the plateaus. So it's holding very well right now. We're in there aggressively mopping up because we know this fire's been actually, every once in a while, it just tries to get away. So we're in there mopping it up, make sure it doesn't get away. Moving down into branch 16, that's the Highway 44 corridor. It's held for 4 days. It's been wind tested. We're in there mopping up. It's getting pretty close to putting that one to bed. Going down to A21 Road and ST and U and down into Westwood and Almanor, looking really, really good. No issues in there the last 2 days. We still have a presence in there taking care of the Meadow Lakes area, Meadow Valley Lakes, and Almanor getting in there, make sure there's nothing around the houses and make sure it's secured. Moving down to 36 corridor, we're looking really good. We've had no issues in there. And then the Janesville area, we have presence in there, keep an eye on those structures, and we're mopping up around those structures in that 30,000 acre spot. It's taking time. This is a lot of line to cover, but we're making great progress. Thank you.
We will now have a pre-recorded video from the East Zone by California Interagency Incident Management Team 1's operations.
Good afternoon. I'm Chad Cook, Operations Section Chief with California Incident Management Team 1, coming to you from the Dixie Fire on Saturday, September the 11th. I'm going to just walk you around the fire and some stuff that's happened. As you know, we got some measurable rain on the incident yesterday, which really helped us today. Even as things started to dry out, we still had a lot of our fuels were really receptive to that little bit of moisture, and it's really helped us on the fire ground today. So I'm going to walk you around, talk to you about some stuff that's going on. And we'll start up here high. It's always easier for me to start up a little higher in the Janesville area as we've shifted some resources around to continue our patrol process. Everything above Janesville continues to look great. Yesterday, we actually drove this, got to see the work that was happening as our team transitioned in, got to see exactly what was taking place. All of this looks fantastic. It's still in a patrol status, no real visible heat other than some interior heat, nothing that is threatening the fire lines. Again, strong presence of folks that are still out here moving around in a patrol status above Janesville, from the Janesville grade all the way out into Wilson Valley, all the way out to Wilson Valley, Antelope Lake, Fruit Growers Boulevard, and around the Horn into the Westwood area and down towards Almanor, Canyon Dam into Greenville. All of this looks fantastic. Still a strong presence and a lot of mutual work going on between the West Zone and the East Zone, and they continue to have a high presence up in there as well. Again, a lot of diligence still out here because we know that this fire has the ability to get up and move on us, so you'll see a strong presence. As you move down from Milford to where this fire made a push last week under the red flag conditions and where it pushed out to 395, we looked at this yesterday. Everything looks real good. No visible smokes that were threatening the line. There is some visible smokes that are higher up on the escarpment that are up high, but nothing near the edge of the line, and a strong presence of firefighters once again in and around the 395 corridor, in the community, around the ranch properties. And we've shifted some of our structure groups and moved some of those fire engines up here to keep a community presence in the event that something did pop up. But you should be seeing some more black line come on the map. As you come from what we call Division Papa, right south of Milford, between there and between the Hurlong Junction area out here, up into here, this looks really good. All along this perimeter here, looks excellent. There's not a lot of heat in it. And again, when I say it looks good, I'm referring to heat and the signature of any heat that has the potential for escape. So again, I have to be careful and choose my words with you when I say what looks good, and what I mean is the potential for escape. And so again, very minimal heat signatures. Now out in the center out here, of course, we do have heat. We have some smokes that are popping up as the sun gets on it throughout the day. But again, not a lot threatening our line that can get out into some of these bellies that haven't burned, and especially outside the Walker Scar. So again, very minimal heat signatures along the outside, but we're continuing to have a presence of folks that are in here monitoring this to make sure nothing escapes. As you move down along the Beckworth complex, as you see, this got black line because this ran into the fire scar. I anticipate black line coming here. Again, very minimal heat on the perimeter, but a strong presence of firefighters to make sure nothing has the ability to escape down into this area of 395 and Hurlong, and then down towards the Doyle area. So as you move up again to Dixie Mountain, the lookout tower and the rock outcropping that's up there, we flew this morning. We flew this entire southern, I'll call it the southeasterly side of the fire. Again, very few smokes up around H68, which is one of our helispot locations, and up near the tower that's up top. It looked really good. There's a piece of hand line that comes back down into some dozer line that takes us back down into the flats, down into Dixie Valley in here and over to Coyote Hills. This looks excellent. We had a strong presence in there again. Want to make sure that we're getting this buttoned up in case we get a north wind. We have a secure hold on this. This looks really, really good. Again, very, very minimal on any heat. We're going to continue our presence in here on these smokes to make sure that we can take care of some of these heavies. One of the terms that we keep using is our heavies. We're talking stump holes, large logs, down trees and stuff that continues to smolder. That wetting rain did really good for our ground fuels, but those heavier ones continue to smoke and put off a little bit of heat, and that's what we're paying attention to. As you move down into Dixie Valley, into the Beckworth-Genesee Road out to the 70, this road, you continue to see firefighters working this and some prep that was done in mastication in the event there was to have an escape here, and these lines are looking really good in the event we have like a backup plan if something were to escape. So that continues, that work continues, backhaul of equipment and supplies continues all through here. As you move out into this valley, again, you know, if you're familiar with this area and on this Beckworth-Genesee Road, you get into this valley out here that's very meadowy out here. This all looks really good. No heat signatures on our infrared that we could see, which tells us that you'll see some black line coming into this. As we get over here into this Turner Ridge area that you show all the way out here that comes out of Lake Davis and into this general area here. This area here is where we worked some aircraft today. Even with the measurable rain that we did receive, we did have some heavy fuels that were burning out in here, and we did work some aircraft in this area because it's one of our trouble spots where we do have some heat still. Granted, there's not a lot of room for escape from going this way because it's black, going this way because it's black. The lake is on the south side, but there is some ability for it to move this way, so we're paying a lot of attention and making sure that we don't have an escape on this end here. That continues again on the far eastern edge of that Turner Ridge. Around Lake Davis and up to Grizzly Ridge, this looks fantastic. We only had a few heat signatures all the way back up to the Argentine Flory Road, which drops you down into the Genesee Valley and Peel Ridge. And this area in here, this looked fantastic. And again, few heat signatures, but well interior, nothing threatening our fire line. And the work that was put into this, and including the hose that still remains in the mop-up, continues to be a priority for us to check this daily and keep a presence of firefighters to make sure nothing comes out. If you're looking overall on the incident from Quincy, from anywhere in the 70 corridor, from Kronberg, Greenhorn, East Quincy, all the way out to Portola, and you look out, you'll see virtually no smoke on the incident. So again, really good sign for us that that wetting rain really helped us out a lot with the mop-up, and also just some moisture on the ground for us to limit some of the spotting potential. As you move closer to Mount Huff and up towards the Genesee Valley and the Taylorsville area, right out in here, you know this piece of line has been a concern for people for several weeks. There's an open piece of line that's in some steep, really steep, rugged country up here. We have two hotshot crews. One has inserted from the top. Another one is coming from the bottom. We have boots on the ground here, firefighters on the ground that are monitoring this. It has had no spread, and it has very, very limited heat signatures. We flew that today as well. No visible smoke coming off anything near the line, only interior. We're going to keep firefighters in place for several days on this line, but they've hot spotted this and put line in where they can, in and around the rocks and where it's steep, where they can actually access and where safety allows for them to get in there and do it. But they continue a presence in here, and we feel comfortable with this piece of line right now. And every single day with their presence in there and our limited heat, we feel more and more confident with that piece of line, so that we won't have to do any more work. Around Taylorsville, again, a large presence of firefighters still in and around the community. Just as long as this line has any kind of potential, you're going to see our presence in Taylorsville. All the way around, I would call it back towards the southwest side of the incident and down into the Feather River Canyon from where the fly fire scar was, back around to Bucks Lake and out. Everything looks really, really good. No heat signatures on any of our infrared stuff, possibly some stuff out interior, but again, nothing threatening the line all the way back around, and you'll get that briefing from the folks that are on the west side of the incident. That's a general overview for Saturday. Again, the wetting rain was a huge benefit to all of us. California Incident Management Team 1 is back. We're back here at the incident again. We're familiar with the communities out there. We're a very open group and communicative with people. So if there's concerns and things that are going on, we're very open to them. Please get a hold of our PIO shop. And if questions, comments, things comes up, we try to communicate well with you all and let you know what's going on out there. But again, that's a general overview for Saturday that'll carry us into Sunday, and you'll see a lot of the same efforts going into tomorrow as we, again, attack any of those heat signatures that have the ability to escape the fire perimeter. So with that, have a great evening. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Unified Incident Commander Jason Loomis.
All right, good evening, everybody. Unified Incident Commander Jason Loomis, representing the federal agencies over here on the west zone of the Dixie. So a couple of things I just want to anchor into this evening as I speak to you all. First and foremost, just the amount of effort that has been undertaken the last several days, certainly the last 3 days since we had that 10 to 12 mile run up to the north in branch 15. Just an incredible piece of work to get line around that, both mechanized line and hose lay in just a short period of time. So just a tip of the cap to the operations folks out there that's making it happen. The second thing that I want to highlight this evening is you heard Chief Cook from the East Zone talk about California Interagency Management Team 1 coming back. We too over here on the West Zone will be going through some changes. I'll defer to Chief Waters to get into the specifics and allow him to introduce some of the new team members coming in here tonight. But just want to keep this this positive cooperation and collaboration of multiple teams and multiple agencies going forward. It's just been an incredible undertaking in terms of collaboration, cooperation, coordination between the agencies. And on behalf of all the federal agencies on the Dixie Fire, and in particular in the West Zone, the Lassen National Forest, the Lassen Volcanic National Park, and the BLM, we just really appreciate you all and appreciate all the work that's been done and appreciate the public that we're all here to serve. So thank you. Have a good evening.
Please welcome Unit Chief for Lassen Modoc Unit, Chief Scott Packwood.
Hey, good evening, Scott Packwood, Unit Chief, Lassen Modoc. Just wanted to cover a few things that have happened over the last week. We had some amazing work going on in the section of the fire along Highway 395 down along the west side, up west of Milford, extending down towards Doyle and tying into where the Beckworth complex burned earlier in the summer. As you've heard, both teams were working very cooperatively together. The operations chiefs from both teams put together a great plan, kept the fire from coming down into Milford. Outstanding effort in there, some very difficult line to construct and bringing that down off the escarpment. Multiple days of fire being hung up on the escarpment and firefighting going on down there late into the evening as the wind came off that slope and down into 395. So I just wanted to acknowledge the great effort that went on down there along 395. Very minimal impact to any structures and the businesses and the traffic along that highway. It was shut down several times with cooperation and coordination through law enforcement, but everything's back to a static state in that area and things are looking really good. So as mentioned, we had a transition of teams. I wanted to acknowledge the great work that was done by Great Basin Team 1, who was transitioned out of the East Zone. And as mentioned, CAL FIRE Team 1 will also be transitioning out of the West Zone. So while both of those are still in the area and going on, I just wanted to say thank you to the great effort that was put in by both those teams over the last several weeks. As also mentioned by the IMET and fire behavior, we did have some favorable weather, which helped us get around to some other areas of the fire up on the northwest area. Some great work was put in over the last 48 hours on that 12-mile run that Jason just mentioned. That's looking really good, and we have favorable conditions over the next 3 to 4 days that should help us hold that in its current place. So With that, again, thank you to the two teams that are transitioning out, and welcome to the new teams that are arriving. Thank you.
Our final speaker for the West Zone, Incident Management Team 1, Deputy Incident Commander, Chief Chris Waters.
All right. Okay, good evening, everybody. Name is Chris Waters, a Deputy IC for Incident Management Team 1. I'm here really to kind of say goodbye. CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1 is going to be our last Facebook briefing, and we're going to be departing the incident soon, and then transitioning with California Interagency Incident Management Team 14 and Chief Watkins, and NEMO Team 1 Chief Kurth. It's kind of the natural process. You know, we've been here for 60 days. Fire's somewhere near 1 million acres and covers 5 counties. And the natural progression is actually to transition to another organization. Before we go, though, we'd like to recognize a number of individuals that were key to the success of this operation. There's a lot of folks that are involved with this, but there's some that really stand out as an important element in us actually getting stuff done. First, I want to recognize the sheriff's offices from the 5 counties that we've been working in. Butte County Sheriff Corey Honey, Lassen County Sheriff Dean Grouden, Plumas County Sheriff Todd Johns, Shasta County Sheriff Michael Johnson, and Tehama County Sheriff Dave Hincrat, and then also the California Highway Patrol. Law enforcement provides a significant support to us, and then provides us that extra element of safety so we can do our job more efficiently. An additional element that we want to recognize is our infrastructure meetings and our infrastructure operations that go on behind the scenes. We see fire engines, you see a lot of the heavy equipment that's going down the road. You see law enforcement, helping to evacuate communities and providing traffic control operations. But our infrastructure operations that go on behind the scenes where they meet every day, and we discuss the reestablishment of power, water, sewer, anything that is utilized by the community on a day-to-day basis that has to be restored and has to be protected while we're doing these operations. So much so that it even involves supporting local livestock operations and the movement of cattle, and then also working with the local timber operators out in the field, Sierra Pacific Industries, Collins Pine, W.M. Beatty and Associates, and some of the others. Additionally, the U.S. Forest Service has been a major player and a major partner in all of this, and in particular want to recognize Deb Bumpus from the Plumas and Shannon Prather from the Lassen, and they've both been a very important part of this operation and been with us the whole time. And of course, I know that I'm leaving a lot of those folks that we worked with out, but those are 2 that really stood out as being around here and with us and really helping us out as we went forward. Additionally, the numerous other federal agencies, National Park Service, the Bureau of Land Management, also instrumental part in our ability to get this done. Additionally, the local units, CAL FIRE local unit chiefs. There's 3 unit chiefs in particular. There's John Messina in the Butte unit, Dave Russell in the Tehama Glen unit, and then finally Scott Packwood here locally in the Lassen Modoc unit, who just spoke earlier. Also very important, they represent the community and all the local interests, and their voices for the folks that live out here, and are a big part of making sure that we are achieving the objectives set out by the community and trying to keep us hooked into local community interests. Because as an incident management team, of course, we're coming from around the state, and they really are the face of the operation. Finally, I mentioned it a couple days ago when I did a Facebook briefing about the community. And the community here, all the way from Butte County, all the way to this side of the fire, very helpful, very gracious, very kind. I can't tell you how many folks that we run into that are just, very gracious and offering up, just support, offering to buy coffee or whatever, and really extending a hand of friendship to the folks that are out in the community while we're out here working. Another thing is, I think I would be remiss, today is 9/11, and I would be remiss if I didn't say a couple of things. 9/11, when it occurred, there were 2 major wildland fires that were taking place in the state. There was the Poe fire, which was here locally, and then there was also the Darby fire, which was in Calaveras County. September is the kind of when the fire season really gets ramping up, and of course a lot of us, including myself on the Darby fire, were actually working when this thing went down. And it hit particularly hard because we knew that first responders were going to take a pretty good hit just due to the nature of their job and the involvement with the emergency services operation that was going on there. And I just want to ask you to please tonight keep the families and the folks that paid the ultimate price that day, the innocent civilians, the 343 firefighters, the 71 law enforcement professionals, civilians, military personnel, our armed forces that have been in the field for the last 20 years, and then also those folks that continue to suffer the after effects of 9/11, whether it's physical effects due to problems to their health caused by some of the things that occurred at Ground Zero, and then also the psychological part of it as well. So we want to thank all the individuals that helped us. I want to thank the community, and I bid you farewell.
We would like to thank all the presenters for their information. If you would like to find evacuation maps for Plumas and Lassen counties, you may find those on the respective websites. We will continue to provide Facebook and YouTube Dixie Incident Update every evening, and we invite you to join us tomorrow for the live stream briefing from the East Zone of the Dixie incident. That live stream may be found at CAL FIRE Lassen MODOC Facebook page, the Lassen National Facebook page, or the Lassen National Forest Facebook page. In the meantime, you may go to InstaWeb and search under Dixie Incident for the latest information. After this presentation, a QR code will appear that will link you with the evacuation maps. We appreciate your time this evening, and thank you for joining us.